on my birthday. Shout out to Ember.
Miserable.
I didn't come out with the win, neither did Dade, but we're seeing another match in this pool. Is it Bob again?
I saw Bob Lugia, it looked like. So yeah, let's see if we can pull up a couple of the brackets here to see what's going on here. Yep.
That's me. That's Wham. Nice tag, Lugia. I appreciate the shout out. This matchup is, you know, I mean, you're playing Plant. You're not expecting to have an advantage in most of the matchups that you play. An advantage that you can have, though, is that players might not be used to dealing with your character.
Plant is a weird character. Like, Batui is low-key a good character. Like, this is Plant. I could take it or leave it. You're already seeing right there that this character has a ton of weaknesses, particularly in the recovery department. But Batui, though, that's a good move.
Yeah, Plant.
Walk the Plant.
Plant is one of those low tiers.
My God, what is
wow.
happening? Falls. I think the only reason why Lugia didn't die right there is the grace of God.
Yeah.
Fell out of that up smash. Someone
Plant-
is favored.
Plant is one of those characters where they're not low tier because they have just a bunch of like mediocre moves. They've got a couple of really good moves like Batui and dash attack and jab, and then just they're hammered with so many weaknesses. Like
Oh,
the mobility
no.
and the, oh my God.
The
and their
mobility,
fall
the
speed.
the weight, the combo
my
ability.
God.
Yeah.
And we're seeing Bob capitalize on every single one of them. Oh my goodness. Ladder to the top. Bob is really tight with those confirms.
I didn't know that the man was a vegetarian because he's looking a little bit hungry right here. We want
For
to
the
wrap this up
plants.
immediately.
Yeah. This wow, that was a really quick game.
Yeah, I have no
Considering the
analysis to offer.
characters.
Plant
Yeah.
just kind of got, like, you might need to go to the dentist and you just get your teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
That did not look good.
And Plant, and I know Lugia specifically, is very much a kind of take it slow, force you to choose an option, because that's kind of what Plant has to do.
Yeah.
Plant doesn't really have the tools to approach.
No burst options.
Your best is your really small little dash attack, which is a good burst option, but not good enough to beat a character like Steve. And you see Luigi kind of switch to Palu here.
Yeah, this is a real character now. This is a very good character that people forget is a high tier. Like, it feels like the Palu downplay was legendary. But this character may not be as meta relevant these days because there are just a lot of sorties. And Steve is not a very particularly phenomenal matchup either.
Yeah, Palu does, unlike Plant, though, have the tools to deal with a lot of what Steve likes to do. The back air is so good in this matchup. It can take down the walls. It can beat the minecart.
I feel so bad for Lugia because Lugia desperately wanted to get off that platform. That was 100% like the game's engine just not allowing Lugia to get a plat drop going.
What is harder than dropping through a platform in Smash Ultimate?
It sucks that that's the hardest tech in the game.
Not a lot.
Like, wave dashing is only slightly harder than sometimes it feels like.
Yeah, and, you know, Palu is usually one of those characters. We used to call it the Palu tax. You know, you start off at such a high percent because she just gets her combos, and it kind of forces you to play at a different range than you're used to. With different,
Off the backboard, though.
got the rebound there, forces you to play at different with different expectations than you're used to. But Steve is even more so in the sense that Steve can really just combo you at any percent for any amount.
Real talk, like, people need to mix up their fastball times against Bulborbbob. Bulborb, this is game 2, game 1 of playing against Palutena, and Bulborb already has the times of that back air ready. Like, some players, like, they just fastball, short hop fastball at the same exact pace, and Bulborbbob has just shown a phenomenal presence of mind to get that timing ready. I am surprised that didn't scoop.
Yeah, Lugia has, yeah, you can't do anything there. You
contraption.
tech that, you get forward smash.
Yep.
Good setup from Bob. Lugia kind of brought that back in the way that Palu kind of does, but walk the Palu.
Thank you for the combo,
Ooh,
Lugia.
Really impressive extension with the block there, 51%. And, you know, Lugia gets the kill with the up air both times. Very solid. Got a little bit of a hill to climb, but by no means is it out of reach.
That's kind of the thing about Palutena that people forget, is that this character doesn't need super long combo strings. You don't need to get those 0 to 50 nair strings. All you need to do is just hit like 17 back airs and forward airs because they're both safe. They're incredibly difficult to punish, and you can just kind of do them in the sense of the back air being completely invulnerable.
Yeah, that back air specifically is one of the best moves in the entire game.
Agreed.
That you can just throw out, right? It's one of those cloud back air-esque moves where it can dictate entire matchups. Just the way you use it and the times that you use it.
Like, look at this. We basically just have an even game purely... Oh, never mind. I'll shut up from now on. That's entirely my fault.
And then Steve, that up tilt is so fast.
Yes.
Right? But it's kind of like the Ryu and Ken down tilts in a way. It's so fast, it's sometimes hard to hit confirm off of it.
If we need to say that propaganda.
Look, sometimes we saw Nova was hitting some confirms, but sometimes they would up tilt and then do another up tilt or another up tilt. Because you're
right. The hold buffer.
Yeah, you're trying to use how active it is and how many you can throw out, but you can't like hit confirm off of it if you're not ready for it.
Yep. So great reactions from Bulborbbob to be ready to get that kill off of the -2 move on shield. It just astounds me how good that move is. Every time I see a link into a move, I'm like, this isn't gonna work.
Yeah, and this is kind of how I feel like this is gonna go. Palu's strength really lies in her ability to keep you at disadvantage with that back air, with that forward air. Oh my, wow. You know, and however long Palu disadvantage state lasts, Steve's is just a fraction of a second, you're at 90%.
Yeah, Palu has the better neutral in this matchup. The problem has just been that neutral doesn't necessarily matter in a lot of matchups against Steve. Because, yeah, you can go ahead and keep him out a million times, but all he really needs is those 2 or 3 interactions. One will deal 80, and the next one will confirm off of a safer.
Yeah, and that's what we're kind of seeing here in late stage Ultimate. We've seen Palu not be quite, oh my goodness. We've seen Palu not be quite as meta relevant as some of the characters that can really just blow you up off of one interaction. Because people have gotten so good at those combos. We've seen Bob so good at the Steve tech with the nils and all those ladders.
Now, to be honest, that Lugia approached that perfectly. Like, let the Steve plank. It's not necessarily resource positive if you can keep destroying the crafting table. Respect the ledge, allow the opponent to get back up if they want to, and then punish them when they're trying to take back to center stage.
Yeah,
like, if they're Bulborbbob is in disadvantage, do not go over there and die.
There's been very impressive patience from Lugia. You know, Steve's going to do this. Steve's going to plank.
Yeah, it's a bait. Like, Bulborbbob is saying, I'm not winning via this planking shenanigans. I'm just trying to get you to charge me unsafely. Yeah,
and you can see a lot of characters will struggle to try and contest Steve while he's doing that. So don't.
Yep. Like, if the Steve is in the lead and just has no soul and wants to do that for the rest of the game, yeah, you kind of got to, like, press on that. But if you've got a lead, like, who cares? Like, all this is doing is the Steve is just taking up some of your time. And as annoying as that might be, let them do that and then get that win and say bad things to them. Say things that'll get you banned from Twitter.
You know, nowadays I don't know if anything will get you banned from Twitter. Oh, no.
Well, my reaction to that might get me banned from this stream.
Yeah, that was a brutal
disgusting.
confirm with the nil F smash. And all of a sudden, while you were at like 20%, now you're on your last stock. Even game right here.
Not a ton of resources here from Bulborbbob, but look at how much work this pal has to do to knock down those iron walls.
You know, Bulborbbob Steve reminds me a lot of Susu in the sense that they're very much kind of bursting you down. They have extremely pristine extensions, and they rarely miss their confirms. And so instead of like the slow-paced, behind-the-block Steve game that you'll see from maybe an Akula or an Anin, you'll see
Tech it. Oh, it doesn't matter though.
A lot more bursty and aggressive Steve, which is very interesting.
I can see that. I think that the big thing for Susu is Susu used to be a stream runner, so like their tech skill is unfathomably good. Tech it.
Yeah, oh, he can't in that situation. And Bob, really nice performance from Bulborbbob there.
3-0, I was praying, that we were going to get another game because it did feel as though Lugia had started to adapt. Like, the neutral was phenomenal. We were seeing time and time again where when Bulborbbob would slow the pace down, Lugia would no longer try to rush in. So the adaptations were there. It was just that Bulborbbob was a force that would not be denied.
Yeah, and I think Lugia played that last game especially very, very well.
Agreed.
And sometimes, you know, you make a few mistakes, and that's all it takes, right? It's not necessarily about how many mistakes you make. It's about how you can capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. And Bob did such a great job at capitalizing on every single mistake Lugia made. You saw one hit lead to death